Krishna Yadavaya.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, and thank you everyone present here again for giving me this valuable opportunity to serve all of you. I find these conversations to be some of the most enlivening moments in my life. So thank you again for having me. I will start with the Mangala Charanam verses and then we will go into our discussion today. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupaha Kadahamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvaya Patitanam Pavanebhyo. Jai. So I would like to thank all of you again for having me here. The other day I was going through this very interesting verse that I came about in Chanakya Niti's Niti Shastra. It says that it gives us the different meditations that we must have at different times during the day. So it goes like this. It says, Pratar Dyuta Prasangena, Madhyane Stri Prasangena, Ratrau Chaura Prasangena, Kala Gachati Dhimatam. It mentions that in the morning, Pratar Dyuta Prasangena, we must speak about gambling. Madhyane Stri Prasangena, and in the afternoon, we should speak about women. And Ratrau Chaura Prasangena, and at night, we must speak about the thief. And Kala Gachati Dhimatam, in such a way, we must spend our times. So it can leave us in a bit of a fix that we're not supposed to be doing any of these activities, focusing on gambling, thinking about women, or thinking about thieves. But there's a bit of a deeper meaning, which I think we all can catch on. Is that in the morning, when he talks about gambling, he means the Mahabharata, which revolved around the gambling game that was played by the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And the woman is Ramayana, because the whole story circulates around Sita Devi and how she was kidnapped, and then Ram went to Lanka to save her from Ravana. So it's circulating entirely around a woman, Sita Devi. And at night, we should speak about the thief, which is no other than Krishna. So in such a way, a person can spend his entire day fully immersed in good consciousness by reading the different pastimes of the Lord. So for me, right now in India, in Vrindavan, it is 8:30 in the evening. So it's the perfect time for me to discuss about the thief, Krishna. But for most of you, it is morning or afternoon time, if I'm not mistaken. And I still have to say there's no problem whatsoever still in speaking about Krishna, because we can discuss any of these topics, any of these books and still be discussing and speaking about Hari. Because it is very beautifully said that Vede Ramayane Chaiva Purane Bharate Tatha Adav Ante Cha Madhye Cha Hari Sarvatra Giyate. That amongst the Vedas, the Ramayana, Vede Ramayane Chaiva Purane, all the Puranas and Mahabharata, Adav Ante Cha Madhye Cha, in the start, in the middle, as well as in the at the end, Hari Sarvatra Giyate, that Hari's name, Hari's glories are always being sung. And for us, especially as Gaudiya Vaishnavas following in the line of Srila Prabhupada, that Hari is nobody other than Sri Krishna. There's a beautiful verse in the Padyavali that speaks about how Krishna takes on this nature of Hari, or one who steals away. It's described, Apaharati manome kopyayam Krishna chauraha pranata durita chaura putana prana chaura chalaya vasana chauro bala gopi jananam nayana hridaya chauro paschatam sajjananam. It's explained that Apaharati manome, someone has stolen my mind away. Kopyayam, someone, I don't know who. Krishna chauraha, and he's dark in complexion. Pranata durita chaura, he also steals away all the bad karmas of the people who pay obeisances in front of him. All the miseries he steals away of the people who pay obeisances in front of him. And Putana prana chaura, he also stole the life of Putana. Chalaya vasana chauro bala gopi jananam, he also stole away the clothes of the bala gopis. And Nayana, he stole the eyes, through which Hridaya chaura, he stole the heart of the Sajjan devotees, of all those saintly sadhus. So that is our Sri Hari. So no matter what time of the day it is, it's the most perfect time to speak about Sri Krishna. So in this mood, let us dive into our topic today, our discussion today. Our discussion is based on the final chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the 90th chapter of the 10th canto, titled Summary of Lord Krishna's Glories. And it's interesting that the purport of this chapter started by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. They mention that Madhuram Samarpayet, that this 90th chapter of the 10th canto, which is like the essence of all that is being said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is also being finished on a very sweet note, Madhuram Samarpayet. And it beautifully is describing the Jal Keli Leela, or the water pastimes, the playful water pastimes of Krishna and his 16,108 wives. It's a very beautiful description. And it also goes on into the prayers of all the queens, all of the wives of Krishna, where they're relating everything around them with Krishna. They're missing Krishna. They're also in separation from Krishna. Whatever objects they see, let it be the water, let it be the birds, they can only see Krishna, or they can see a mood that can reflect with Krishna. And in this way, the whole entire chapter speaks about this deep love, this deep prema, which is the highest goal. Prema pumarto mahan. It is the highest goal for any living entity to attain. And it's safe to say that after 90 chapters in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in 90 chapters in the 10th canto, we should have a very solid position in our hearts that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just recently, our dear Hari Parshad Prabhu, he composed a very sweet shloka. This shloka is known as Ek Shloki Bhagavatam, or it recites the entire essence of the entire Srimad Bhagavatam in just one shloka. It goes like this. Ado bhumi suravanaya jananam gopi grihe vardhanam maya putanikatma tapaharanam Govardhanothapanam Kamsa Chedana Manya Dushta Nripabhu Bharasya Nistaranam Etad Bhagavate Shuka Prakatitham Shri Krishna Leelamritam. Very beautifully summarizes this entire 10th canto. It mentions that Ado Bhumi Suravanaya Jananam, that Krishna took birth on this Mother Earth because of the plea of the demigods. And Gopi Grihe Vardhanam, when he grew up in the house of the gopis, especially Mother Yashoda, his own mother. And Maya Putanikatma Tapaharanam, he stole away the burning fire in the heart, in the Atma, in the soul of Putana. And Govardhanothapanam, he also lifted Govardhan hill on his little finger. Kamsa Chedana, he also killed Kamsa, and Anya Dushtan Ripabhu, Bharasya Nistaranam, he also killed all the other the evil kings that were disturbing the peace on this planet Earth. He destroyed all of them and he established peace again. So this is Etad Bhagavate Shuka Prakatitam. This is what Shukadev Goswami was trying to say. And what was he trying to say? This entire Srimad Bhagavatam is Shri Krishna Leelamritam. It's the nectarian pastimes of Shri Krishna. So we understand that the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam is the pastimes of Krishna. And we know that Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this fact should be firm in our hearts. It should be completely settled down. And all these pastimes take place in all the previous cantos that lead up to establishing this one fact, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But why is that so? Why is it that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Haven't we been attracted to the pastimes of other incarnations like Nrsingadev, Varahadev, Vamanadev, even Vishnu, such glorious pastimes of the Lord saving his devotees? Isn't that like enough to qualify him as them as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Well, they are Bhagavan. They're the form of Bhagavan, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Sri Krishna. And today we will try and solidify and establish these facts. So these facts will be established on 4 key points that we will discuss today. I'll mention these four points, and then we can dive into each one of them individually. So the first point is Khandayati Sarva Dukkham, that Krishna destroys all distress of anybody, his devotee as well as his non-devotees. The second point is Sarvam Cha Atikramati. Krishna Atikraman, or he surpasses, he's at the top of everyone. There's nobody on top of Krishna. Krishna is at the topmost. The third point is Karoti Sarva Sukham, that Krishna is the cause of all type of happiness for everyone. Karoti Sarva Sukham, he gives all type of happiness to everyone. And the last point is Karoti Sarvamcha, that Krishna does everything. So I'll repeat these points. First is Khandayati Sarva Dukkham, he destroys all the distress. Sarvam Cha Atikramati, he is on top, he surpasses everybody. Karoti Sarva Sukham, he gives everybody all types of happiness. And Karoti Sarvam Cha, and he does everything there is to be done. So these are very solid points of why he must be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And let us try to gather some proofs, some pramanas, as they say, to solidify these points and to truly believe these points. So the first point is Khandayati Sarva Dukkham, or that he destroys everyone's distress. So we know that Krishna is the reservoir of all that is blissful. his vigraha, his form is Satchidananda Vigraha, Ananda Vigraha, that his form is bliss personified. So it's obvious that anybody who comes in contact with him, the distresses leaving that person is like a byproduct. It will definitely happen, especially for his devotees. For anybody who practices bhakti, the distress easily gets vanquished. There's that shloka, Yasyam Vaishruyamanayam Krishna Paramapurushe Bhaktir Utpadyate Pumsaha Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. That Bhaktir Utpadyate, as soon as bhakti comes, Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Shoka, lamentation, and moha, illusion, bhaya, and bhaya, fear, apaha, gets completely destroyed. And there's another shloka which talks about the three different experiences that a devotee feels simultaneously while performing bhakti. It says, Bhakti pareshanu bhavo viraktir anyatra chesha trika eka kalaha prapadyamanasya yathashnatah syus tushti pushti shudapayo nughasam. It explains that bhakti, the act of performing bhakti, para isha anubhava, and to experience the Lord himself, and viraktir, these three things, bhakti, experiencing the Lord, and virakti, that is renunciation. Anyatra chesha trika eka kalaha. All of these things happen simultaneously at one time. And we understand that this virakti that they're talking about, this renunciation, is from material sense objects. And we know that material sense objects in this world are only a cause of lamentation. It's a cause of dukkha. It's clear, Krishna very clearly says to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkayonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. That any of the objects that are fed by the senses are all cause of dukkha yoni, and nateshu ramate buddha. An intelligent person does not dwell into any of these things. So we understand that a devotee, when he performs bhakti, naturally khandayati sarva dukkham. All his dukkha is getting destroyed because he's coming in contact with something so pure. But the word that is important in this point is sarva. Khandayati sarva dukkham. That means all distress is destroyed, as well as of all people. So what about the atheist? And what about the demons especially? Isn't it right that the demons' distress must also be destroyed by Krishna? So Jiva Goswami, he says something at this point. He says that Krishna has a specific quality. Asura namapi mukti pradatvena. That Krishna, he also gives mukti to the asuras, to the demons. Okay? And what's the proof of this? How do we understand this fact? So there is a shloka from Bhishmadev's Stuti. It's a very beautiful section in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Bhishmadev is lying down on his deathbed, and these beautiful verses are coming from his mouth, glorifying Krishna. And one such verse throws light on this quality of the Lord, where he's even destroying the sins and destroying all the distresses of the demons, the Kauravas, who were fighting against the Pandavas. And it is explained very beautifully. Vijayarata kutumba attatotre dhrita hayarashmini tachriye kshaniye bhagavati ratirastu me mumurshar yami haniriksha ghata gata swarupam. It's explained that Krishna is sitting, he's on the ratha of Arjuna, and Dhrita Haya Rashmini, he's holding on to the rope of the chariot, and he's looking so beautiful, very beautiful. In fact, in a previous shloka, in the same stuti, it's explained how beautiful Krishna is looking. It says, Yuddhitara garajo vidhumra vishva Kachalulita Shamavari Alankritasye Mama Nishita Sharer Vibhidyamana Tvachi Vilasata Kavachestu Krishna Atma. Vishwadeva is saying, it's one of my most favorite shlokas, that Yuddhi Taraga Rajo, the dust is flying in the air because of the hooves of the horses and all the soldiers running there. And it's settling down on Krishna's hair, and Krishna's hair, which is black in color, is now got this dusty color. And his face is glistening with sweat. And some sweat beads, Shramavadi Alankritasya. The sweat beads are alankrit. They're ornamenting his face. And Vishwadev is saying that Mama Nishita Sharair Vibhidyamana Tvachi Vilasata. That my arrows are cutting through Krishna's body and blood is coming out. Wow, what a beautiful description. It's a very rare sight of Krishna to see blood coming out of his body, dust on his hair, and sweat coming out. And and all the people who were on the battlefield could see this beautiful form of Krishna. So much so that Bhishmadev says in that shloka that Yam iha niriksha hata gata swarupam, that one who saw this form of Krishna attained their swarupa. Aren't we all desirous to attain our swarupa? So those people attained their swarupa when they saw Krishna while leaving their bodies. Such good fortune. Krishna looks after each and every personality, even if they have so-called misfortune in front of them. So let's try and apply this point to other incarnations of Krishna. Khandayati Sarvadukam. Did Nrsingadev do this? Khandayati Sarvadukam. Did he destroy the distresses of every asura that came in front of him? Or what about Ramachandra? Did he happen to do these same things? So we know the pastime of Jai and Vijay, who were the gatekeepers of Lord Vishnu, and how they got cursed to take 3 births as demons on earth. One birth was as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. And in that birth, Nrsingadev happened to kill them. Nrsingadev killed Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyaksha was killed by Varahadev. But they did not get mukti, right? Jiva Goswami said, Asuranam api mukti pradatvena, that Krishna gives mukti even to the asuras. But Nrsingadev didn't give mukti to Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha because in their next life they had to take birth as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Okay, so Ramachandra was there when they took birth as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. And again, when he killed them, they did not get liberation because they had to take birth again as Shishupal and Dantavakra. And only when Krishna killed them only when Krishna killed Shishupal and Dantavakra were they able to get liberation and go back to their position as Jai and Vijay. So we understand that these are very subtle points, but it does establish our Lord on the topmost position. So yes, Khandayati Sarvadukham. This was our first point of why Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We also know, actually, that he gave liberation to Putana. Although Putana came to kill him by smearing poison on her breast, Krishna still gave her the position of a nurse in Goloka. So the ways of the Lord are very mysterious, but there's never a bad ending for anybody who comes in contact with Krishna or Krishna consciousness. So that was our first point. Khandayati Sarvadukham, that Krishna destroys all the sadness, all the distress of every living entity. The next point is Sarvam cha atikramati, that Krishna surpasses, he's at the topmost position of everyone. Again, we turn to the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam to solidify this fact. It's mentioned in the 3rd canto, 2nd chapter, 21st shloka. Swayam tu samyatishayastrayadhishaha swarajyalakshmyapta samastakamaha balim haradbhischiralokapalai kiritakotyeditapadapeetha. It's explained that Krishna is asamya. He's very unique. There's nobody like Krishna. It's very true. There's no one like Krishna. And Atishaya, he's the greatest. He's the greatest amongst all personalities. And Trayadhishaha, he's the Lord of all types of threes. That is the 3 modes of material energy, the 3 guna avatars like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, the 3 different energies as well, Antaranga, Bahiranga, Tatastha Shakti. He is the Lord of all the different types of threes there is. And Swarajya, he's completely independent. There's no boss of Krishna. Lakshmyapta samastakamaha, and he's fully satisfied. He's got all opulences and he's completely satisfied. And what happens to this great Lord? Balim haradbis chiralokapalai kirita kotye ditapadapi. That great rulers or great maintainers of this world, they come and put their crowns at the lotus feet of Krishna. How beautiful. That Krishna, who is that sweet boy who's enjoying in Goloka, all these great personalities who are managing the world, managing the universe, the entire cosmos, they come and put their crowns at the lotus feet of Krishna. We also know the pastime of Brahmadev when he came and wanted to test Krishna, and how Krishna completely put him in illusion. He wasn't able to understand what's happening. He couldn't figure it out. And at the end, he understood that this is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he came and he surrendered. He put his crown at the lotus feet of Krishna. And he said that I just want to be the dust here in Vrindavan. And we also know that all the Yadus, from the Yadu dynasty, they were also serving Krishna. It is explained that all the kings, all the Yadu kings, no matter what activity they were doing, any activity it may be, let it be if they were with their family, if they were out hunting, if they were just simply in the court, they were always meditating upon Krishna. Not 1 second did they ever forget Krishna, and they were always subservient to Krishna. And of course, the famous Pandavas. The Pandavas also, although they went through so much hardship, and then after that hardship, Maharaj Yudhishthira became the emperor of the world. He also did the Rajasuya Yajna, establishing him as the emperor, unchallenged emperor of the world. But still, they gave so much honor to Krishna at that Rajasuya Yajna. And they, all their life, gave so much honor to Krishna. So it's understood that no matter how great the personality, they always surrender in front of the Lord. We even see nowadays in this world that great actors and actresses sometimes appear in the temples, and even when they come, normally they're surrounded by so many of their fans who are always yelling out their names. But even when they come in front of the temple, in front of the deity, they will bow down. They will give their respects. What to speak of the deity? Even when they come down in front of the devotee of the Lord, they put their head down because they understand that this is a person who is serving Krishna. So what is the high position of Krishna? So this shloka establishes the fact that Krishna is sarvam cha atikramati. He surpasses everybody in this world. Everyone is under Krishna. The third point to establish that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead is karoti sarva sukham, that he gives all type of happiness and to everyone. And again, we need to refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our we follow the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarato Mahan. That this is the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matham Idam. This is the viewpoint of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam. It's that pure, the most pure and the most nectarian proof. So we must always refer to the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, in relationship to Karoti Sarva Sukham, that Krishna gives all types of happiness, we need to break this thing down because there's so many types of different, like there's people, there's animals, different types of classes of people that different types of classes of entities that Krishna has to satisfy. So firstly, let's see if Krishna satisfies the men and the women. So Srimad Bhagavatam says, Yasyananam makara kundala charukarana brajat kapola subhagam savilasahasam nityotsavam natatripur drishibhi pibantyo naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. It's very beautifully explained that Yasyananam, his face, makara kundala charukarana, is beautifully decorated with shark-shaped earrings. We all know Krishna's beautiful, famous shark-shaped earrings. And Brajat Kapola, his forehead is so bright and so effulgent. Brajat Kapola. And Subhagam, his face has got all the opulences, beautifully settled on his face. And Savilasahasam, he's got that laughter, which is stress-free, as they say, which is fully in a laughter of enjoyment. You will never see Krishna sad. He's always experiencing love of his devotees. So he has that savilasahasam, that beautiful laughter. And because of all these beautiful characteristics, nityotsavam, his face is like a constant festival. You know, we think about festivals, we see like when we enter a carnival, there's a massive stage, like in the festival of my spiritual master, Niduna Swami, he has a massive stage with different plays going on, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and then he's got these different tents, you know, the food tent, somewhere where you can get these face painting gopi dots, where you can buy clothes, magic show tents, you know, everything attracts your eye. And you just never get enough. Like we see people coming in thousands and thousands, year after year. They plan their trips around these festivals. And because you cannot get enough of a festival. So imagine that the Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that Krishna's festival is a Nitya Utsav. It's an eternal festival. That means you can never get enough of Krishna's face. You can just constantly see his face. And that's why the next line has been said, Na tatrapirdashi pibantyo, that the people who see his face are not satisfied. They can never fully say, okay, I am full, I'm done. They just want more and more and more. Naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. And who are these people? It's the men and the women. Naryo narascha mudita kupita nimescha. They get angry when their eyelids come between seeing Krishna face to face. So one thing's understood here, that naryo narascha mudita, these people, the men and the women, they cannot get enough of Krishna's face. Krishna's face is so beautiful, and it attracts all people, both men and women. So one fact is established, that the men and women cannot hold themselves back, and they cannot get enough of Krishna's beauty. What next though? The next verse from Srimad Bhagavatam describes about the situation of the animals. What about the animals? Do they also experience happiness when they see Krishna? Because sometimes we see animals in this world, you know, we like if we have a pet of our own, you know, he might be happy to see us, but as soon as he sees some other person, they go barking and attacking, you know. So is that the case with Krishna too? No. And this fact will be proved by this verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's explained that Kastringate kalapadayata venugita sammohitarya charitan na chalet trilokyam trailokya saubhagamidam cha niriksha rupam yad go dvija drumam rigaha pulakanya bibran. It's explained that kastringate kalapadayata venugita, that which woman in the whole three worlds, trilokyam, will not come running when Krishna plays his sweet melodies from his flute. And how do they come? Fully sammohita. They're fully controlled by Krishna's, the melody coming from his flute, that they leave everything aside. There's actually a very sweet reference that Gaur Govinda Swami says in this regard, actually. He says that the situation of the gopis is such, ta man manaska mat prana mad arthe tyakta daihika. He says that their mind, ta man manaska, their mind is fully in Krishna. Mad prana, their lives is also fully in Krishna. And mad arthe, for me, Krishna is saying, tyakta daihika, they give up everything related to this body. Any miseries, any household chores, they leave it, just everything aside, and they run and come when Krishna plays this flute. So this is how we understand. And again, I was quoting that shloka from earlier, that our way to worship Krishna is like the gopis. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Ya Kalpita. That Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas, that our worshipable Lord is the son of Maharaj Nanda, Sri Krishna, and Tadhama Vrindavanam, and his place of worship, his place of being is Sri Vrindavan. And Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Kalpita, and we should worship Krishna according to how the worship of the gopis. So that doesn't mean that we do it in a mood of imitation. We have to understand the practices that have been given by our acharyas, and the practices of dedicating our mind, our lives, everything to Krishna. And when we do that, Krishna reciprocates. So ta man manaska mat prana mad arthe tyakta daihika. Such is the situation of these gopis that have been explained, that they come relieving everything when Krishna's flute has been played. And this Krishna is Trailokya Saubhagamidam Chaniriksha Rupam. His form is the auspiciousness of all the three worlds. And that form, Yad Go Dvija Drumamriga, it's attracting the cows, the Dvija, the birds, the Druma, the trees, and the Mriga, the deers. And what do they experience? Pulakanya Bibran. They're experiencing their hair standing on end. They're experiencing the ecstatic symptoms of prema. These animals are experiencing that. We know sometimes when we see a happy cow in the Goshala, how they run with their tails up. So we always see these pictures of cows in Goloka when they're running with their tails up, all happy looking at Krishna. And the birds, they're also always singing the glories of Krishna. Yasho Mukhara Matta Kagavalike, that these birds are always singing the glories. Always, non-stop, they're singing the glories of Krishna in different tunes. And the trees also, we've heard that they bend down in ecstasy. They bend down to give their fruits. We see that all of Vrindavan is made of kunjas. And these kunjas are not tall, big, tall trees. They bend down to serve Krishna, to offer things to Krishna's lotus feet. So these all living entities, moving and non-moving, are experiencing prema. And Bilva Mangal Thakur says something in the same regard. He says, Santvavatara Bhavaha Pankajanabhasya Sarvato Bhadra Pankajanabhasya Sarvato Bhadra Krishna Danya Kova Latasva Api Premado Bhavati Latasva Api Premado Bhavati. He explains very sweetly that Pankajanabhasya, that Lord from whose navel comes the lotus flower, he has many, many auspicious incarnations. And each one of them Each one of them are unique and beautiful in their own way. But Krishna Danya Koba, who other than Krishna can latasva api prema bhavati, can even give prema to a creeper. What is the mercy of Krishna? And if we again just try to compare these with the other incarnations of the Lord, when we compare, we're not trying to put them on a lower position of any sorts, because different devotees reciprocate with these forms of the Lord because everyone has a different nature, and Krishna reciprocates with them in these ways. So for them, these lords are complete. But for us, our Lord is Krishna. And just to establish this fact, we will try to compare a little bit. It mentions that, when Nrsingadev appeared, he came from the pillar and he was roaring. And some sadhus, they say that his roar was so scary that all the animals were running away in fear. It says the cows and their udders were bleeding. Some animals even died just by the roar of Nrsingadev. And Lord Ramachandra, we see that when he was passing through the forest of Dandakaranya, and the sages were there, they asked him that, please, we want to love you. They had, although they were males, they had a very sensual or a very intimate Madhurya mood towards Ramachandra. And Ramachandra could not reciprocate because he is Maryada Purushottam. He's establishing all the principles in which a person must live his life according to Dharma. And he couldn't satisfy that desire of those sages. But when those sages took birth as gopis, that's when their desires were fulfilled. We also know there's a pastime of Krishna and the gopis in Vrindavan, that there was a group of Bala gopis or younger gopis, and they wanted Krishna as their husband. And we know that they performed the Katyayani Vrat. It's a vrat that is performed after Kartik, and it has a lot of austerities. Nowadays also ladies perform this vrat if they want a good husband. And the gopis wanted the best husband, that was Krishna. So the austerities that they would perform is that they would go by the instruction of Purnamasi. They went and took bath at a ghat next to Tapavan. And they would go in the Yamuna and bathe at 5 a.m. during Brahma Muhurta time in the cold waters of Yamuna. And if we know that during those months, everything is naturally so cold, everyone's freezing in Vrindavan and there's never any insulation. So the chills reach the bones, so we can just imagine the austerities that the gopis are facing. They take a bath, they take a dip in the cold waters of Yamuna early in the morning. And they recite a specific mantra before a mud deity that they make. Once they come out from their bath, they make a mud deity of Katyayani and they recite the following mantra. They say, Katyayani Mahamaye Mahayoginyadhishwari Nanda Gopasutam Devi Patime Kurute Namaha. They're glorifying Katyayani. They're saying, Mahayoginyadhishwari, you're the biggest mystic. Please, Nanda Gopasutam Devi, please give me the son of Nanda Maharaj as Patime, my husband. And that's why they're offering all their respects to Katyayani. They're begging her, please make Krishna our husband. Now we know that Krishna has Parakiya Rasa with the gopis. And that mood is so sweet that he would not, that it would not be right to break that mood. But what to do? Krishna needs to satisfy the desire of these gopis too. There's so many of those gopis wanted Krishna as their husband. So one fine day, the gopis were taking a bath at, it was later called Chiragat. And when they were taking a bath there, Krishna came And he took their clothes and he went on top of the tree and he hid there with their clothes. And when the gopis came out of the water, they were trying to find where their clothes are. And then they saw Krishna's on top of the tree with their clothes. And of course, they were not wearing any clothes when they came out of the water. And they stood there in shock. And Krishna saw their bare body. Now, there's a tradition that says that any young girl can only be fully bare in front of her husband. So, according to that tradition, Krishna saw these gopis in bare body, and in one sense, he accepted them as they accepted him as their husband. So Krishna did fulfill their desire by not marrying them, but somehow giving them the feeling that he's their husband. So Krishna always satisfies everyone's desires. And again, the key word in this karoti sarva sukham is again sarva. And sarva, this bracket, means everything, has to include everything. And Krishna is part of that bracket. So it wouldn't be right if Krishna is not attracted to himself. Then this point could not be made. It could not be justified. So Srimad Bhagavatam helps us yet again. It says, Yan martalilo paikam swayoga maya balam darshayata grahitam vismapanam swasya cha saubhagardade param padam bhushana bhushanangam. It says that Yan marta lila upaikam, that Krishna came on this material world and he took up a body perfect for performing his leelas. And swayoga, by his own yogic maya bala, by his strength of maya, he took up a body like that of a human being. And he accepted this. And this body, this form of Krishna was so beautiful that Vismapanam Swasya, it is said that Krishna himself was surprised. It himself put him completely into illusion that how is this form of mine so beautiful? It would surprise him when he would see this form. And that's why it is said that Param Padam Bhushana Bhushanangam, that Krishna is the ornament of all ornaments. So Krishna is so beautiful that even he gets attracted to himself. I'm sure we can all relate to this fact. Sometimes my Guru Maharaj recently allowed me to wear colored clothes. He said, you're a grihastha now, and you can wear colored clothes, because initially he wanted me to be in white clothes just to be a little bit more sober in nature. So I've got these new kurtas made in Vrindavan. It's the tradition that you come to Vrindavan and you run and you make new kurtas. So I got my new kurtas made, and somehow every time I walk past the mirror, I'll stop and look at the mirror, and I'll see, oh, this kurta looks good. Oh, this kurta wasn't made properly. Oh, this is like that. This is like that. But it catches you, and I'm sure we all have experienced this. Some days we look at the mirror and we're like, oh, I don't want to go out today. I look terrible. And some days we're just exuding with energy. So imagine Krishna, who is Satchid Ananda Vigraha, who is the source of everything, Sarva Karana Karanam, the most beautiful Lord. If he comes in front of a mirror, what would he do? He could be a whole yuga or more in front of a mirror, and it wouldn't be called narcissistic, because he's just that beautiful. And we know there's that, the sadhus say that once when Krishna saw his reflection in the mirror, he was again Vismapanam. He was completely surprised, completely in shock. And he felt so much love for this form, this personality. And out of that love, from his left side, another golden Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishna, that golden form of Sri Radha appeared. And we know that that's the form of love. That's the form of bhakti of Sri Krishna. So when Krishna loves himself, Sri Radha appears. So we can just imagine that how beautiful is Sri Krishna. Vismapanam swasya. So we covered that point as well, that karoti sarva sukham, that Krishna gives all happiness to everybody, everyone, no matter who it is, the atheist, the non-atheist. In fact, in regards to the atheist, sometimes we question ourselves that, people experience so many bad things in this world, and some people are given so much wealth and material sense gratification. Some people are put in extreme poverty. But there's a shloka that explains that agyo jantur anishoyam atmanah sukha dukkhayoh ishvarah prerito gachet swargam va shvabhram evacha. That Krishna is actually guiding everyone like a cloud is guided by wind. And he wouldn't guide people towards hell, or if needed towards hell, but he wouldn't guide them towards detriment. He would always want, he is suhridam sarva bhutanam. He's saying that himself. So he's always looking after the devotees, or any living entity. So what might be a cause of distress for one person, would still be on a small, minuscule level, directing him towards Krishna. For example, if Krishna is giving someone a lot of wealth in this world now, he's enjoying and bhoga. He's satisfying his senses, but he doesn't get satisfaction. There's no sukhaya karmani karoti loko nathai sukham manyadu paramamba. Neither do they get satisfaction, nor neither do they get any remedy. But then Krishna puts them in a situation because they're looking for something else. So then Krishna might put them in a tough situation, or he might guide them towards higher knowledge, depending on each living entity. So Krishna is our aham bija parapita. He's a father, and he's always guiding people towards him, no matter if it's if it's directly, by getting the Harinam party crossing their way, or in a small way by making them turn their face from the material world. So that was karoti sarva sukham. And the last point is karoti sarvamcha, that Krishna does everything. Krishna does everything. Now, this shloka is the famous shloka that we're very proud of. It mentions that ete chamsha kalaha pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. That Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam. His portions and plenary portions may come, but Krishna is Bhagavan Swayam. And he comes life yuga after yuga to destroy all the atheists in this world. So we understand that Krishna comes in different forms, either as himself or as different avatars, different forms of his, to perform particular activities. And we know that nothing, not a blade of grass, moves in this world without Krishna, without Krishna's sanctioning it. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti. Krishna says Prakriti is his superintendent. So Krishna controls everything either directly, or he comes in a different form and performs that activity. And we also know that, these different forms of the Lord, like Ramachandra, Nrsingadev, Vamanadev, Varaha, these are all forms that Krishna took for particular reasons. But in those forms of the Lord, Krishna did not perform all activities like we discussed earlier. And like they were missing these points that we mentioned. And we know that when Krishna came himself, first off, those forms are also his forms. But even when he came as himself, he exhibited the qualities that were present in each of those forms. Like when he came as Ramachandra, he did particular activities. But when he came as Krishna, he also performed some activities that Ramachandra did to signify or to show the quality of Ram. For example, when Krishna went accepting the challenge of Kamsa, and he had entered Mathura, when he came to Rangeshwar Mahadev temple, there was a massive bow there. The bow was, I think it was given by Lord Shiva to Kamsa. So Krishna, just like Ramachandra, he picked up this bow, and just while tying the pratyancha, or the string on the other end of the bow, he snapped the bow into two halves. We've heard this before in Ramalila, where Ramachandra was at the Swayamvar of Sita Devi, and a similar pastime happened. First off, most people couldn't even lift up that bow of Lord Shiva, but Ramachandra easily lifted that bow up. And when he was trying the rope, the bow just snapped into two halves. So Krishna is signifying these different qualities of different avatars. For example, even Vamanadev. Vamanadev was a Pakka Brahmana boy. And Krishna was also a Pakka Brahmana boy. We know that he went and he studied the Shastras that a Brahmana must imbibe in the ashram of Sandipani Muni. Krishna is so intelligent that even when he didn't plan his talk with Arjuna, yet the 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita just flew from his mouth. And we also know that in the Sandipani Muni ashram, he learned the 64 arts in 64 days. That means he mastered one art in one day. Who has the ability to do that? For example, he mastered the art of singing in one day. You know, for us, we practice all our lives to be a good singer, or all our lives to be a good speaker, all our lives to chant in a particular way. But Krishna just mastered that in just one day. So that is Krishna's amazing quality of that, like a Brahmana, like Vamanadev. Even another avatar that he took was Varahadev. Once Krishna and Balaram were nowhere to be seen. And Mother Yashoda got so, she was panicking. Where is my Lala? Where is my boy? And everyone in Vrindavan are finding. That time one boy came and he said that you're Krishna they said that Krishna, two pigs have come in. The two pigs have come into the dare. They've come there into this pit. And this pit was filled with cow urine and cow dung. You know, the farmers, they normally collect the cow dung and the cow urine to reuse those things as manure. So they said that two pigs have entered this pit of cow dung and cow urine. So Mother Yashoda came there running, and Nanda Maharaj came there. And upon seeing there with attention, they saw that is actually Krishna and Balaram. They were playing in the cow dung and in the cow urine. So Mother Yashoda said, "Are you a pig? Why are you playing in the cow dung and cow urine?" So Krishna said, "Yes, I am a pig." And suddenly he took the form of Varahadev. That place is known as Varahaghat, where he took the form of Varahadev. And of course, Mother Yashoda saw that form, and saw the opulence of that form. But again, when Krishna turned back into his original form as a little boy, she was taken over by Yogamaya. And there's no Aishwarya that ever settles in Vrindavan. So we see that Krishna even took the form of Varahadev. And even the mood of Nrsingadev. Krishna comes in this world, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. He comes to destroy all the atheistic, all the asuras, the dusht people in this world. And just like Nrsingadev, he does that. You know, the Shakti of Nrsingadev is portrayed when Krishna does these same things. So it signifies that Krishna shows all these avatars. He's karoti sarvamcha. All the avatars come from him, and all the avatars, and also in his own form, he exhibits the qualities of all these avatars. We hear in Jiva Goswami's, one of the sections in his Gita Govinda, the Dasha Avatar Stotra, that he's saying, Keshavadhrita, Keshavadhrita, Keshavadhrita Sukara Rupa, Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa, Keshavadhrita Matsya Sharira. That Krishna, Keshava, the killer of the Keshi demon, is taking the form of Varahadev, is taking the form of Narahari, Narsingadev, is taking the form of Matsya. Keshava is taking this form. Nobody else is, it's not that some other person is taking this form or they are taking Krishna's form later. No, Krishna, Keshavadhrita. Krishna is taking these forms to perform particular activities in this world. So it signifies that no matter what is happening in this world is happening only by the will, only by the desire, and only by the Shakti of Krishna, either directly or indirectly. He comes as all these different types of avatars, and he carries out these tasks. So we discussed all these 4 qualities of Krishna that signifies him to be the supreme personality of Godhead. The first one was Khandayati Sarva Dukkham, that he destroys the distress of all people. Sarvam Cha Atikramati, that he surpasses and he's at the top of all people. Karoti Sarva Sukham, that he gives all types of happiness to each and every personality. And Karoti Sarvam Cha, and he also does anything and everything that is there to be done. Now, these 4 points are very beautifully explained in just one shloka in this chapter, the 90th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This chapter is the conclusion of the 10th canto. And the 10th canto is our life and soul. It's showing us how Krishna performed his Leelas and why Krishna is who he is, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it beautifully explains that it's saying, it starts with the word Jayati, meaning all glories to that Krishna who performs all these Leelas. So the shloka is as such. It says, Jayati Janani Vaso Devaki Janmavado Yaduvara Parishat Svedor Bhirasyanna Dharmam Sthirachara Vrijinagna Susmita Shri Mukhena Vrajapura Vanitanam Vardhayam Kamadevam. It's beautifully explaining that Jayati, all glories to Krishna. All glories to Krishna, because all these 4 qualities which we discussed are established in Krishna as a person. Nobody like that in this entire creation. Creation comes from him in this entire being. And it's explained that he is Jananivas. He is residing with all the people in this world. And Devaki Janmavada. He came from the womb of Devaki, and he was with Mother Yashoda. And Yaduvara Parishat, that he was served by all the Yadus. This point can reflect the point that Sarvam Cha Atikramati, because there was nobody who could defeat the Yadus. And all the Yadus are serving Krishna. So Yaduvara Parishat. And Swair Dhor Birasyanna Dharma. And he's killing all those adharmic or the atheistic, the asura, or all the asuras in this world. He's just killing them. And we know that when Krishna kills, he's also giving them mukti. Asura namapi mukti pradatvena, that Krishna gives them all mukti. And sthira chara, even if it's the living entity is sthira, means in one place like trees, or chara, if he's moving, vrijinagna, he destroys all their lamentation. And susmita Shri Mukhenam, and he has the most beautiful smile ordained on his face. and Vrajapura Vanitanam Vardhayan Kamade. And he's beautifully increasing the lusty desires of all the gopis towards him. So this is the second or third last shloka of this chapter, and it just shows the importance and the activities that Krishna goes through, and how there's nobody that can come close to performing the activities that Krishna performs. It's said that anugrahaya bhaktana manusim dehamasilo, that Krishna performs these activities just to please us devotees. And if we don't accept these things in our heart, if we criticize our situation every time, if we lament all the time, then we're not truly giving value. We're not truly giving this great position to the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have to accept. It says Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudhrida Nischay Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. That we need to have Shraddha. Shraddha means full faith and full determination in performing any activity of bhakti. And Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. If we perform Krishna Bhakti with this Shraddha, we should know that every other activity will happen by itself. We don't have to perform anything else. Krishna provides. Krishna provides. And sometimes we still we face a situation where we know that that it's tough. How do we fight these material energies? So I would like to mention a very sweet realization of Sri Harisuri in this regard, and I would like to conclude on that note, because that just gives us an understanding of, if we keep our mentality in that particular way, we will always be able to be aloof from the material energy. So there's a context where Srimati Radharani, when she was left by Krishna during the Rasa Leela, Krishna and Radharani first left all the gopis and they went elsewhere. And then Krishna left Srimati Radharani too. And Sri Radha was just sitting there lamenting. And there was a full moon night. And Radharani said these beautiful words. She said, Gurvanganeyamiti mamam avagatya mohat kimre kare sprishasi chandra nirasta lajjam tarana kama mahamachyuta pada sakta saradike telamalam kilasahasena. She's saying that Gurvanganeyamiti, I am not the wife of the guru. There's a small story to understand the shloka, that once Brihaspati's wife, Tara, was kidnapped by the moon. And Brihaspati came and had a massive fight with the moon and took her back. But so Srimati Radharani is addressing the moon, that Gurvanganeyamiti, I am not the guru's wife, Brihaspati. Gurvanganeyamiti mam avagatya mohat kimre karai sprishasi chandra nirastalajam. That you shameless moon, you shameless Chandra, you're trying to touch me with your kara. Kara has two meanings. One is the rays and one is his hands. So she's saying, you shameless moon, you're trying to touch me with your hands. I am not the wife of the guru, Brihaspati. She's saying, Tara nakamam. I am not Tara. Aham achyuta pada sakta. I am fully asakta, or fully firm at the lotus feet of Sri Achyuta, of Sri Krishna, the infallible Lord. And that's why she's saying, Sa radhike telamalam kilasahasena. That I am Radhika. I am Achyuta pada sakta, and I am Radhika. That's why please stop these filthy efforts of yours. Now, we know that Harisuri always leaves a sweet meaning in the shlokas. So she says that I am Achyuta pada sakta. I am fully firm in love and determination that I want nothing but the lotus feet of Krishna. And in that determination, she says that I am Saradhika. But the Saradhika, these words, can be joined and it can mean Sar Adhika, that I have a lot of strength. Sar means strength and Adhika means a lot. So Radharani is saying that Sar Adhika, alam alam kila sahasena, that don't you dare try these efforts on me. So it goes to signify that if we make conscious effort in accepting the lotus feet of Krishna, then we will get Sar Adhika. We will get a lot of strength. And these material energies, like the moon, will never affect us. Sometimes we hear like the moon controls the liquids in our bodies and it makes us, whenever it's a full moon night, we're more emotional. So it's a material energy that's influencing the body. And there's so many other material energies that influence us. So if we have firm faith in the lotus feet of Krishna, then we have Sar Adhika, or we have a lot of strength, and these material energies will never influence us. So establishing these facts, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to make sure that these facts are very well settled in our hearts, we should make very conscious efforts. And one such effort is also to have gratitude towards our previous acharyas. So for me today, my point of gratitude would be especially to Jiva Goswami, because whatever shlokas that I just mentioned were his chain of thought in establishing this fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And believe it or not, some very unfathomable mercy fell upon me a few days ago by the mercy of my spiritual master. We happened to go to the Vrindavan Research Institute, which is where they have all the 32,000 manuscripts from the Radha Damodar temple stored and preserved there. And my spiritual master, Indidumna Swami, is also going to do more service there and preserving them properly, publishing them over time. So we went there on the appearance day of Jiva Goswami, and we happened to get the darshan of his 6 Sundarbas, all his 6 Sundarbas written by his own very lotus hands. It was just so overwhelming to be in the presence of those books and to see those books. It's philosophy, but it's like artwork. It's like a painting. The way he writes, there's a thing known as matras when you write Hindi, the way the lines are made. He has a bit of flair. Sometimes you can notice when someone flicks the pen, there's a bit of flair in the writing. So you can see all his matras have this flair in the writing. And each alphabet is similar to the next alphabet, and that's similar to the next alphabet. There's consistency. It's so beautiful. And it's so interesting that, we highlight things with the highlighter. Jiva Goswami also highlights things in his book. He makes this orange substance out of the trees and barks and leaves, and he uses them to highlight things in his book. Key points, particular shlokas, or when you're going through some massive page to catch on to a particular point that's important. He makes it easy for the readers to by highlighting it. So the original highlighter was used by Jiva Goswami. So it's just amazing how so much effort was taken by our acharyas to give us what we have today. And we need to appreciate these things and make the most of these things to make our lives entirely successful. So on that note of gratitude, I would like to conclude by saying, Yad atra skhalitam kinchid vidvam sahapurayantu tad. Yad atra shaushthavam kinchid tad guroreva me nahi. Yad atra skhalitam kinchid. If you found anything that was wrong, wrongly said, that wasn't right, vidvam sahapurayantu tad. All of you learned souls, please correct me. But Yad atra shaushthavam kinchid. If you found anything that was nourishing, that was a takeaway from today's class, please remember, dear devotees, that tad guror eva. It belongs to my guru only, me nahi. It does not belong to me at all. And I would also like to mention a very small but personal note here that today I have one of my gurus sitting and listening to this class in my audience. It's my dear mother, and today happens to be her birthday. And I would really request all the Vaishnavas present here to please give a very heartfelt prayer and all your blessings onto her, that she can continue to serve her spiritual master and all the Vaishnavas like the way she has for all these years. It's only by her mercy that I am this whatever little bit that I am today, and I'm eligible to sit at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, because I have seen her attitude of service, I have seen her selflessness in her service, and I have seen her loyalty towards Sridhar Swami and Srila Prabhupada. So I really request all the Vaishnavas to please shower all your mercy and blessings on my mother, and I would also offer my obeisances unto her. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Be on video so we can see her.
She is on video. Let me Mom, you there? She is on video, but her video is off. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
There she goes. Yeah.
That is Mom there.
I think we can.
Anyways, I think we can.
Yeah, all of us can wish her.
There she is.
And unmute.
There she is.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Jai. Her name is Manjari Dasi. Hare
Krishna. I wish you a very happy appearance, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Wish you a very happy Krishna conscious birthday.
Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna to you. Hare Krishna
Krishna to Mataji. Hare Krishna
to you.
Jai.
Mataji, please bless us on this auspicious day, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. What a wonderful,
Yes.
commendable, speechless, what all can I say? It was such a fantastic class. And thank you so much for approaching and taking up this task and giving us this such a wonderful session. And the topic you chose was perfect, and the way you covered it was also very perfect. I really like the way you covered the 4 key points of Krishna, and then at the same time, establishing his outstanding thing about regarding to all other avatars. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for wonderful, wonderful, wonderful session. And you are blessed to have such a sweet mom, and your parents are also blessed to have you as your child. So it's a mutual thing. Yeah. So thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful, wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this, actually, because for a very long time I was meditating on this and it wasn't fully settling in. And the best way to let it settle in is by sharing it with others. So actually, you've done me a bigger service than I have done to all of you. So thank you very much to call me again and again to enliven the Vaishnava community. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare
Such
Krishna.
a beautiful class, very nicely covered all the points. And it's a fantastic way to summarize the glories of Sri Krishna. Very, very beautiful, Prabhu. Prabhu, I did have a couple of questions. The first one was, of course, you mentioned how Jiva Goswami establishes that it is only Krishna who actually gives personal liberation even to his enemies. And you did quote the example of Shishupal, Dantavakra, who were finally liberated after 3 births in a personal way. So I was just curious to see if at all, there are any example of anybody in scripture wherein the other incarnations gave a personal liberation to someone who had a little inimical behavior. Is there anything like that at all in any scripture?
I can say that I wouldn't be fully aware of other avatars giving personal liberation as such. I'm sure there are such instances because it doesn't completely negate the fact that the other avatars are eligible, but just the small fact that they did not give that liberation to every soul that came in contact with them. The point that was being made is that Krishna does it to everyone, and the other avatars are also as glorious as Krishna, and they're able to do the same things, but they haven't done it to all living entities that have come in contact with them. So it's a fine line. It's a very fine line, but yeah, it's just the position of Krishna that is most supreme. But one thing is understood also from the point of view of a devotee, that sometimes Rupa Goswami says very importantly that we have to do Krishnanushilanam bhakti. We have to do bhakti according favorable to Krishna. And although people get different types of liberations by the will of Krishna, still that's not what a devotee wants. There's a shloka in the Shloki Bhagavatam that says, Salokya sarshti samipya saru paikatyam apyuta diyamanam na grinanti vinamat sevanam jana. It mentions the 5 different types of liberations, Sarupya, Salokya, same planet, Sarshti, the same opulence, Samipya, to be very close to Krishna, Sarupya, to have the same form of Krishna, like Uddhava, and Sayujya, which is the impersonal Brahman. But Diyamanam na grinanti vina mat sevanam jana, that the devotee says that I will not accept any of these liberations, even if they come to me, even if I'm in front of Krishna, but I don't have the opportunity to serve him. What's the point? Devotees gain their happiness from service. That's why, what's that shloka that says that that even while being in this world, we can experience complete ananda, complete satisfaction. So that is the position of bhakti. So I'm sure that other avatars of the Lord have also awarded this to different people, but Krishna has awarded it to everyone. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that your enthusiasm is so contagious. It was so nice to watch you speak because you were so excited throughout the presentation, which really adds value to the content that you present. And my other request was, if it is okay, I'm not sure whether it's okay or not, but can you possibly, I don't know if it's okay, but can you show some pictures of Srila Jiva Goswami's notes on the Sundarbas?
They are on my Facebook page.
Okay, I can.
If it's Shashi Avarsekar, SHASHI. Okay. If you search for that, you could. I have posted one photo, and you could get darshan there. Okay. Yes, Paraji.
So wonderful, so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the call and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Chapter.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And I think also it's on your Guru Maharaj's page also, Prabhu.
I'm not sure.
I think so. Once he posted that there are 30,000 books, and he went to that library.
He did post, but let me see if he posted photos of the manuscripts. I don't think he posted photos of Jiva Goswami's manuscripts. Yes. Okay. I could share it with you too, Mataji, and you can share it with the devotees.
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Others can unmute by themselves, or do you require any help? Okay. Yeah, I think you can unmute by yourselves if you have questions.
Can you send a Facebook link, Puji, if you please, the
Yeah.
chat? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I will.
Okay, Hare Krishna, I think so. His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu is there on the call. Prabhuji, would you like to say a few words?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanur Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Vardhan. Jai.
So, thank you so much, Prabhu, for kindly speaking so nicely on the Charam Shlok of the 10th canto. Very nicely spoken. Many happy returns of the day, Manjari Mataji. And thank you so much for giving our ISKCON society such a wonderful Vaishnava in the form of Kartamati Prabhu. Actually, it is the success of all parents the day the son is initiated. Kartamati Prabhu is not only initiated, he second initiated. So both of you have carried out your duties so nicely. And Mata Shataguna Pujya, that the mother is 100 times more worshipable than the father. So certainly your credit is 100 times more than the credit of Narottam Prabhu. And I say,
Definitely.
so Shabda is Praman. Thank you so much. And yes, there are instances of other incarnations awarding liberation. For example, when Ravan approached Marich was doing tapasya in the forest, and Ravan gave him a threat. Either you die by Ramchandra's hand or you will die by my hand. So Marich then said, if I die by your hand, I will degrade myself in the next life. But if I die by Ramachandra's hand, I will attain liberation. So I would rather die by the hands of Bhagavan Ramchandra. So that was an indication he got liberation. But those were all Sayudhya Mukti. But the speciality in Krishna is that he gives ras, he gives bhakti, and he gives the spiritual world to whomsoever he kills. And therefore, in Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the verse Aho Bakiyam Stana Kalakutam, that the demon who came to kill Bhagavan Krishna, not only did he give her liberation, but he also gave her a personal rasa in the spiritual world along with. So that is the speciality of Bhagavan. But thank you, Prabhuji, so nicely presented. And my best wishes, Prabhu, for all the future present. Keep studying, Prabhu. Very hard.
Yeah. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this fantastic class. We got so many details. And this question, Prabhu, can I ask you one more? Is the Jatayu also get the same like liberation like Marichi? Because he did not die in the hands of Ravana?
He did not die in the hands of, he died in the hands of Ravana,
Rama.
but he died in the hands of Ravana,
Rama.
but he was fixed in the lotus feet of Lord Ram. He went to save Sita Devi. So he died in service. He died on the battlefield. I hear oftentimes my Guru Maharaj saying that I always want to live on the battlefield and die on the battlefield. So Jatayu is one such example where he lived on the battlefield and then he died as well on the battlefield, serving Lord Ramachandra and trying to rescue Sita Devi. So, of course, he died in the hands of a Rakshasa, but he attained the most highest abode, his eternal association with Sri Ram. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Got it clear, Prabhu. Thank you so much. And I have another question, Prabhu. I don't know, is it right or wrong to ask, but what is the meaning of your name, Prabhu?
So, yes, my name is Kartamashi Das. That's the way my spiritual master says it. But Prabhupada used to say this name as Kartamashai. That means Karta means the head man of the family, the boss. And Mashai is a way in Bengali that like a very great person, like a very respected person in society. They call them Mashai. So it's Karta Mashai Das. And Kartamashi was also the first deity that was established in ISKCON. And my spiritual master, when he was giving me Diksha, he mentioned that Kartamashi is a form of Krishna when he was 5 years old, and he's very bossy. He's the boss of the house, and he's telling his mother that you should cook this today, you should do that today. And, he's instructing everyone what to do. And after my Guru Maharaj gave that whole description, he said, Kartamashi, you're Kartamashi Das. So you don't get to instruct people. You're the servant of the boss. And so sometimes Srila Gurudev or his own is Bibi Govindaswamy, they call me the boss man, out of love. But I'm truly the servant of the boss man. Yes.
Jai. Very nice, Prabhu. Very nice. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu. So, dear devotees, anybody have any questions or realizations would you like to share with Prabhu? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji, for such a wonderful class. It was very, very nectarian classroom. It means so much stout and so much wonderful in philosophy. It was so nectarian to hear through you, and so thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. And I also see that Raj Das has raised his hand.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranam to you, Prabhu. And many Dandavat pranams to your parents, because to grow up such a son is such a beautiful thing. I have 2 boys, and at the very in this class, you think, what do you say to the Prabhu when he finishes the class? And I was thinking I will glorify his mother rather than him, because it's such a beautiful task she did. You're a gem, Prabhu. You're a gem. Such a beautiful class you gave with this, so many references from the Shastras. Is so amazing. I would certainly love to have a number of your parents to get guidance from them how to grow my kids, so they can be like you, Prabhu. You are such an example for all of us young people, I would say. Thank you so much, Prabhu, and thank you, Mataji, for giving us such a gem. Of course, Prabhuji too, but mothers have such a big hand in growing their kids. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It was very beautiful class. I will certainly go on your Facebook page and send you a friend request too, if you can please accept it. And then certainly I would ask some questions after the session too. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. You were very inspirational for me. Thank you. So much inspiration you gave to me. Thank you.
Yes. One thing I can say about my parents was they were very patient with me. I've been through a lot of thick and thin in my life, but throughout that whole time, they've been like my friends, and not more like friends, less like parents. And they've always made Krishna consciousness so easy and simple to practice. So in that atmosphere, it's very relishable. And I'm sure they can give a lot more wisdom, but this is just me speaking from my experience as their son. So yes, I'm very much indebted to them.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, I think if there's no more questions or realizations, we can conclude for today.
So, Prabhu, I would like to read some messages in the chat box, Prabhu.
Sure.
So, Lalitangi Mataji has written, both mom and son from the spiritual world, please accept our humble obeisances. Aradhana Mishra Mataji said, happy Krishna conscious birthday, dear mom. Shivani Mataji said, a very happy Krishna conscious Mataji. Danvat pranam to your lotus feet, Shivani. Parima Mataji, flow of nectar today. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna. Radha Sakhi, very blessed Krishna conscious birthday, dearest Manjari. Parima Mataji. Dandavat pranams to you, Mataji, for such a wonderful son. May Krishna shower unlimited blessings on you and your family. Lalitangi Mataji, such an incredible class, so many points to contemplate and relish. Sukasagari Mataji, Hare Krishna, happy Krishna conscious birthday, dear Mata. Nikhil Asvapi Avastatu Jivan Mukta Sa Uchate. Can you send me the Facebook link? Great, Hari Pashat Prabhuji said, great talk, Kartamashi Prabhu. And Chanchalakshi Devi Mataji said, very well said, Hari Pashat Prabhu. Kartamashi Prabhu truly carries forward the inspiration and mercy from Srila Gurudev and his parents. So these are some of the messages from the chat box, Prabhu. So dear devotees, so if there are no more realizations for Prabhuji, so with Prabhu's with Prabhu's permission and all the devotees' permission, we can end the call. So once again, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving this sectarian and outstanding class, Prabhu. We would like to hear more classes in future from you, Prabhu. So with this note, I would like to pay my obeisances to you and all the devotees on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasinduvyaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namah.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna Tata Mela ki jai. His Grace Kartamashi Prabhu ki jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna for such a beautiful class.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.